What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning. I meant on doing an upload yesterday, but I ended up having to deal with our rental tenant. I did a bunch of small repairs that costed me a decent amount of money at the house. So everything is perfect for her now, I think. But yeah, we dealt with a minor setback with our renter. And hopefully things are going to be solid here on out. But anyways, I thought I would get this one knocked out early in the morning, hence the sun beaming through the window like that. Guys, I'm going to get blinds eventually. It's just not on the number one top of my priority list. Anyways, yeah, I'm absolutely shocked at how hard it is to grade vintage right now. Like, absolutely shocked. And I guess I shouldn't be, because I've been talking about how I believe that there's pop control going on and how I just don't see otherwise, right? For example, this Heracross I graded recently. It is sat in my binder. I bought it for dirt cheap and it graded a PSA 8, right? I don't know how well you guys are going to see the whitening, but there's plenty of whitening on all four corners. There's little white dots that are obvious on all four corners. I don't know how well it'll show on there. But yeah, this was just a card that sat in my binder that I bought for dirt cheap several years ago. Well, it's crazy to me that I recently, I did a submission that I've been talking about. I sent it in the value tier. I spent $25 a card because I wanted to expedite things, and the cards were special to me. We did some heavy base set pack openings, and I'm still going to do a submission reveal. We're still going to go over the cards in that submission, even though it was, what I'm pretty sure to believe, my smallest and worst submission ever. I'm pretty upset. I'm pretty sad about it. But at the end of the day, like, I can cry about it all I want, or I can spread a message and educate people that don't know otherwise or that are new to this hobby. If you are new to this hobby, do not think that you are going to get PSA 9s and PSA 10s from grading vintage cards. It is going to be very difficult. Right now, I can't stress enough my previous messages of just buy these old vintage Grail cards. Just buy them. Buy the cards you're looking for now, because one, as much as I think the market needs to make a pullback, right? My previous video was talking about a recession potentially or a crash, and it might not be in the collectibles market. It might be in the macro economy. I don't know. No one can see the future. But I feel like things have been bullish for far too long, and we're due for some kind of setback, some kind of retrace. That being said, I'm always going to be a firm believer that vintage cards are drying up, and no matter what conditions we're in, they're just going to get harder and harder to get your hands on. Now, some of the prices being insane, like, the gold stars, for example, I know I bring those up a lot. I am almost finished on my journey of completing every single PSA 9 Gold Star, so I'm really excited about that. And I'm actively trying to work out a deal for the Umbreon, so we'll get to that when we get to it. But the cards doubling, tripling in price from already like kind of all-time highs, in my opinion. That's crazy, and it needs to stop, and it needs to pull back a little bit. But for the most part, these cards are going to continue getting rarer. And as for this PSA 8 unlimited copy of Heracross, by no means is this really that clean of a card. It has some surface scratches, it has whitening on the corners, but they gave it a PSA 8 near mint to mint. So my point here is, I graded all the cards that I pulled pack fresh from base set 2, Team Rocket, and base set unlimited, right? We sent a couple cards that I felt were very, very strong PSA 10 contenders to PSA. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything too much, but I'm just here to tell you guys that we got a lot of 8s. All right. It honestly, it boils my blood that we could get so many eights from cards that are packed fresh. Like, these are vintage cards. I assumed wrong. I figured that PSA might go a little bit lighter on cards that are vintage, that have perfect surfaces and perfect hollows, that have not been polished or creamed or altered. It really grinds my gears that, here I am sending in an honest submission of cards that are pack fresh cards, and they couldn't do but as good as this Heracross that came straight out of my binder that had been sitting there for years that I bought for dirt cheap. Guys, and this is on me, right? This is on me. But, the whole point is to take something that feels like a massive failure on my part and turn it into something that could be beneficial for the community. I opened a bunch of base set heavy packs. Now, what I should have done, considering how cheap I got those packs for back several years ago, I should have sold every single pack as a heavy pack. They would have gone for about $1,000 a pack. I would have made about $600, maybe $500 after fees off of each pack that were heavies, right? I don't have a lot of regrets as far as selling the lighter packs, but I have a lot of regrets in terms of, financially, it was not a smart decision to go ahead and open up those packs. But we did it. We did it because it was a fun way to celebrate where we've gone with this channel, and how far we've come. And it was also a way to celebrate the fact that we'd bought our new house and we were moving into a new place. And I wanted to do something grand. I wanted to go out with a bang before I started making videos and making content again. I knew that there would be a small drought, a period of kind of radio silence where I didn't really make videos at all because I was just so busy with our new life here and getting the place set up. But luckily, I took it upon myself late at night to go ahead and spend all night setting this room up and getting it ready to start making videos again. And I'm pretty proud of myself on that because we had everything working against us, a lot of stress. I had just gotten home at like 1 a.m. off of a late night shift at the bar. And I just decided, you know what, brother, if you don't get this done, you are not going to get this done. Let's just fucking let it rip. Like, let's get this done. So I got the room set up. Anyways, yeah, it was a good memory opening up those packs, but I'm not going to lie, it really fucking hurts seeing the submission because I was too excited. I had to know, and I had a bunch of offers from PSA, which literally would be such a huge loss for me to take any of those offers. So with even the cost of the packs, I'm just going to tell you guys, not one, I don't think one single card covered the cost of the packs. I think maybe I broke even on base set 2 because base set 2 is a little bit cheaper, and I don't even know if I broke even on base set 2. I don't think I did. But I lost money. I lost money on every single pack opening. I lost money on the raw value. I lost money on the graded value. I just lost money across the board opening up vintage packs. So while it's something that I really enjoyed doing, I would be in a much better position right now had I just sold those packs for profit. That was never the intention. The intention was to sit on them for a really long time in my collection, but the longer you collect, you start to realize that nothing is forever, and that your collection goals are going to change. You might even contradict yourself in the process of your growth. And that's okay too. You don't always have to like the same things. Again, I've said this a lot. I was really big into sealed investing. I was really big into, buying as much of a set that I thought was underperforming, and then, hopefully at some point selling it when I thought it was performing well. I don't do that anymore because I just don't think the opportunity is there as much, even though it clearly is. Boxes are still rocketing off to the moon. But anyways, that's my point, is that I went into, buying and grading singles and collecting vintage. That's a direction that I went in. Anyways, that being said, be careful out here grading vintage cards that are pack fresh cards that you are going to assume are going to do really well. PSA is being harsher than they've ever been, in my opinion, and it's damn near impossible to get a good grade on vintage, which makes vintage grail cards even more valuable than they are. Now, if you're going to pick up cards from the shop and you pick them up cheap, secondhand, grade them, right? This Heracross is a great example. I'm happy that I got an 8 on this Heracross because it was probably $10. It was probably dirt cheap. I remember I bought it for dirt cheap a long time ago, right? So it doesn't matter as much to me that it got that grade, right? Still love the card, still love the art. Sugimori is the GOAT. So yeah, I'm still happy with it. But when you open up a $400 pack, and that was my cost years ago, right? And then it becomes worth $1,000 or a couple $100. When you open up a pack like that, you send it in for grading, and you get a lower grade than you expect, you know, that is the gamble of grading. But I would definitely say right now, grading modern to flip and sell, or even for your personal collection, makes more sense than grading vintage. I'm going to go so far to say that you should just be buying vintage cards and really not grading them unless you're picking them up very cheap secondhand. I would not be looking for vintage cards right now to grade because it's very, very difficult. Maybe it's easier with CGC. Maybe it's easier with Tag. I don't know. I don't use those grading companies. I don't have anything against them. But I'm telling you right now with PSA, they are being so fucking hard on vintage cards right now. And that's one of my biggest mistakes that I've made in a really long time. I feel pretty good about most of my decisions in the hobby. I've made a lot of mistakes early on. I think a lot of collectors do. We buy shit we don't need. We're at the store in Walmart. We're buying products we don't even believe in just because of the hype, because of FOMO. I've been there. I've done that. And I'm okay to admit that too. You know, I came into the hobby really more interested in collecting vintage, but I got sucked into modern, and I wasted a lot of money getting sucked into modern product. We had a lot of fun. We opened a lot of stuff. And granted, opening modern stuff is way more affordable and still feels like a waste of money half the time. But opening modern stuff was way more affordable. And it's also a lot easier to grade. You know, worst case scenario, most of the time you're going to get 9s, right? That's like usually the worst case scenario that's like, oh, I got so stiffed on this. But oh my God, sending a pack fresh vintage card in and getting, you know, a 7 or an 8, it's absolutely like just, it's tragic. It's tragic. And yeah, so that's my little story time today. And you know, just being transparent and upfront about experiences that I've had so far in the hobby. And moving forward, I'm still going to grade vintage cards, but most of them are going to be if I can get cheap deals from the shops locally. Otherwise, for the most part, my whole deal grading cards, even if they're packed fresh, I probably won't do it anymore. I don't know if there's a reason to do it anymore. It just feels like I have a super bad taste in my mouth from this past submission. And there's still some cool stuff, right? There's still value there. And there's still a decent chunk of value there. But, it's just losses, right? I would probably have to hold on to a lot of the cards that I just graded that were packed fresh. I probably have to hold on to them for another 2 to 3 years before they probably ever actually met the value of what I spent on the packs initially. That's bad. That's bad. That's embarrassing to take losses like that. But here we're going to talk about the amazing cards we add to our collection. We're going to talk about our huge wins grading modern cards like this Salamence EX. I graded a ton of these and just winged it. Sent in a bunch of them and got a bunch of 10s back. And that's the thing. With modern, you can pull that off. You can't really pull that off with vintage. So while I think the modern market is very inflated right now, I think it's still a great time to grade modern cards. But as far as vintage goes, yeah, just buy the vintage cards, right? I really think that it's a better strategy. And at the end of the day, while I think the gamble of opening packs is so much fun and it's thrilling, and you get like an adrenaline rush and a dopamine drip, I just feel like it's just not worth it. So yeah, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about that other than, this makes even more important my argument for vintage cards drying up. They're already scarce. They're already expensive. They're tough to find. They're tough to grade. Everything about vintage makes it more valuable and rarer than modern cards. Not to mention the art style, which I just think Arita, Sugimori, Sato, Fukuda, all of the greats. No one's ever going to surpass them, in my opinion. Their art style is undefeated, in my opinion. But obviously, I still like modern. I still have all my modern PSA 10 slabs. And I still agree that grading modern is the play right now. It really is. Grading anything modern is the play right now. From Cosmo Hollow blister pack promos to all of the Black Star promos in general, to, cards that we get for free in our ETBs, to, and the enhanced booster boxes, the box topper, the free cards we get in those, and then just all of the illustration rares, all of the SIRs. There's like nothing that you shouldn't grade, honestly. And even getting a 9 in modern is like not the end of the world. Now we have a huge market for 9s, right? There's more people than ever collecting PSA 9 modern Pokemon cards. That was not a thing a couple years back. Really, a year ago, that was not a thing. Like, it was such a pain in the ass to sell a modern card that was a PSA 9. Like, people would get 9s and just crack them and sell them raw because they thought they had a better chance of selling them because somebody else would want to grade it. And honestly, a lot of the times, a lot of 9s would regrade as 10s. So there's a lot of reason to just crack them and send them back in too, or just sell them raw. But I don't do that. I sell my cards as they come back. I mean, I did it in my first submission ever. But at the end of the day, like, there's still a market for even PSA 9s and modern. So learn from my mistakes. Don't go opening vintage packs thinking that you're going to get an insane grade. And there are exceptions. There's so many people that have opened vintage packs and gotten better grades. But right now, I think PSA is operating a little differently. And I definitely believe in Pop Control. And I definitely believe they shafted me on the grades. But that'll be a fun submission reveal to show you guys. But because I've seen them, I wanted to go ahead and speak up on that and speak on my experience so far with vintage. And I think it's important because these cards were packed fresh. We opened them on stream. And like I basically said, like, I don't think these are going to get PSA 10s. But also, they should be a little bit more lenient on older WOTC hollows. But nope, that's part of the reason why the populations are so goddamn low on the WOTC hollows. Because they're tough to grade. So, and maybe it's just a hard lesson that I need to learn to stop trying to grade WOTC hollows as much. Unless I'm buying them for cheap, like I said. So, anyways, guys, I thought you enjoyed that. And honestly, this makes me feel even better about all of the cards that I will be listing to eBay that are vintage cards that are pretty much near mint in my collection. But I just don't think it's a smart thing to grade them right now. I don't think it's going to help me very much. Whereas modern, like, you can pick up modern, like this Full Art Alakazam. This Full Art Alakazam has a really, really good chance of getting a 10. Is it kind of a worthless full art? Yes, but it's also flawless. So and even with a lot of modern, they throw out 9s with like perfectly flawless modern too. So, but I still think you have a much better chance grading a modern card and coming up on a modern card than a vintage card right now. So buy your grails, get them before they're gone, and yeah. I just wanted to share this with you guys. I hope you found it somewhat insightful and helpful. And I am going to get some stuff done, ship some stuff out. Peace.